Hello everyone and welcome to Abundantly Minimal. Today is day 8 of Minimal May, and for today's video I'm just providing a quick summary of the most recent episode of the Abundantly Minimal podcast. Today we are talking all about fashion and how you can simplify your wardrobe. So I wanted to go over a few of the key details you mentioned. Of course, if you want to go into more depth on what we talk about, you can definitely check out the link below. I'll put it in the description field for the full stories about my own clothing journey and Jake's clothing journey and how we've managed to really simplify our wardrobe at this point. So as far as a couple principles here, something that's really important is to think about obviously what things are most useful to you and provide you the most value when you're wearing them. It's easy to think, well, this particular item I need because I bought it and it was really expensive and etc. But when we make excuses like that, it makes it really hard for us to move forward and improve. And so I think one of the greatest parts about having a minimal wardrobe is that it gives you more confidence. It helps you narrow down your choices so what you do have are things that you really enjoy wearing. So if you're looking for something to do to help start your reduction of the amount of things in your wardrobe, I recommend first getting rid of any clothing that you don't wear or haven't worn in a really long time. Over time, one method you can do is to actually flip your hangers in the opposite direction, and then once you wear an item, put the hanger back the normal way. At the end of whatever the time period is, you'll have an idea of what things you wore and what things you didn't. And if you didn't wear it, try to figure out why. Why is that? And then from there, you can go forward and decide, do I actually need this? If you've got an overabundance of certain types of things, if you have this many pairs of shoes, or any object, too many t-shirts, I think it can be helpful to say, let's try to get rid of 10%. That's a smaller number that's not as intense to start out with. And if you are to, start out with that kind of number, let's say you have 20 t-shirts, you get rid of 2. That might not seem like that much, but if you apply the same principle to other areas of your wardrobe, then you're able to see some dramatic results, a 10% deduction in your total wardrobe. So that's a really great technique. This may depend on the person, but you can get rid of holiday-related items. So if you've got something that you only wear for a certain holiday, is that worth holding on to the remainder of the year besides that holiday? Maybe there's better items that you could be using. If there are certain items that are made in a way that doesn't really match up with your ethical standards, whether those are very low quality items made with sweatshop labor, items that contain animal products, if you are trying to avoid those would all be some criteria you can use to get out certain things. One thing that Jake really talked a lot about in the podcast has been his journey really making the fabrics he has in his wardrobe more eco-friendly and better for health. Different fabrics have different health consequences as well, even though we don't really think about that as much. So one just simple example, organic cotton. Maybe we think of organic more so as something for food that we're putting into our bodies, but our skin is the largest organ of our bodies, and what we wear does affect our health. If you've got things that are worn out pieces of clothing that you don't need anymore, don't feel guilty about getting rid of them. You can find places to donate them or even clothing recycling centers. And the realistic truth is that a lot of clothing ends up in landfills anyway. So don't feel like you need to hold on to something just because you can't find a use for it. You can repurpose old things into newer items such as rags and other basic cleaning items. And that can be a way to give second life to a certain item. I think overall, one of the big keys here, we want to push towards not having to buy as much in the future. And so, yes, the decluttering is important. If you are getting a lot of value or use out of something though, don't feel like you have to get rid of it just so you can have a certain number of items. I know that's something that I've been focused on, and I haven't really purchased new items in a long time. And even though I still have more than I'd like to have, pretty much what I have is something that I really love or feels great to wear, looks good, that kind of thing. So these are just a few tips on how you can declutter your wardrobe. Again, the full video, the full episode is down at the link below or available at abundantly.minimal.com if you want more details and more tips on how you can simplify your wardrobe. Thank you so much for joining us for part of Minimal May. There's also a link below if you'd like to get our free 8-step guide to a minimalist lifestyle or the Declutter Challenge guide. And I hope to see you guys tomorrow for the next video. Bye!